What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Relearn Japanese, and you're here because you forgot your Japanese and need to relearn it again. And we've kind of revamped the series a little bit, even though we only have a little bit left to go. But I thought it would be a great way to help me become more motivated to do these by spicing it up a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started. But before we do, I'd like to thank the patrons on Patreon for supporting the channel and everybody supporting the channel for Kanji Buff and my skits and all that stuff. Thank you guys so much. You mean the world to me. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. And remember that today's content will be on the worksheet that will be uploaded at the same time as this, so you guys can practice what you learned, or relearned rather, on Patreon. Okay, here we go. So today we're going to be talking about leaving things as they are. So that could be either you left something the way it was, or something has not changed since it's been there. So for example, there are two ways to say to leave something the way it is, or as it is, or left something unchanged. So we have mama, which is used to express that something has not changed. Okay, it doesn't change, you leave it there, and the only thing that does change it might be nature, but not you. Okay, that's the important thing there. Panashi is used to express that something is left as it is, or it has been released as it is, as we'll get into, as there is a kanji attached to that. And you'll see why that's important. Notice that there is a small tsu there, so don't forget to do that when you are, conjugating this phrase. So let's talk about mama. So it's not to be confused with mama, but it can be a useful tool for you to remember it. So who never changes, right? Who doesn't like things to be changed in the house? Mama, of course. Mom wants everything the way it is. Don't touch it. Don't touch her shit. Mama is the master, and she doesn't want anything. She doesn't want anything changed. Just leave it the way it is. So that might be a fun way for you to remember this particular grammar. You'll often hear this at like the convenience store, and it kind of gives you a good idea of what this means in context, in a real world situation. So we have このおにぎりだけです just this rice ball, thanks. このままでいいですか? All right, just like this then. Like, you don't want me to put package on it, you don't want me to change its form, you don't want me to change anything by adding it to a bag or something like that. いやいやいや、そのままでいいです。そのままでいいです。そのまま, and why would you change it to そのまま, not このまま, そのまま, because now he is holding it, right? So he is in the speaker's domain. So that's why そのままでいいです. So yeah, it's fine the way it is right now. Just the way you're holding it like that. Don't change it. That's basically what this comes from, and you can kind of understand what people mean in a more clearer picture by imagining the convenience store scene. So that's really important for you guys to remember. So to use mama in a sentence, you just attach it to whatever you want to stay unchanged. So 半分しか食べてないままで捨てちゃダメですよ. Okay? You can't throw it out like that. It's only half eaten, right? You can't throw it out in that half eaten state. You can't throw it out in the state where you change it to be fully eaten, right? If you throw it out like that without changing it, that's not good. That's basically what we're talking about. So mama said, don't change shit. But because mama said don't change shit and it looks like that and you unfinished it, in my opinion, that's no thank you. So I don't care what mama said, to not change shit, but don't do that, okay? So that's basically how that goes. So when you put it with a noun and not a verb, it's pretty easy. その格好のままでデートに行くの? その格好のままでデートに行くの? You're going to go on that date like that? In that form? You're going to go on a date in that form? Without changing? Are you crazy? So 格好 is kind of just your shape or your form or just how you look. And then のままで, so のままで, because de is a short form for des, right? Which is the state of being. So その格好のままでデートに行くの? You're going to go out on a date looking like that, implying that we're not changing anything. Okay? So, pretty easy when you have context attached to it, right? Now, let's move on to Panashi. Panashi actually comes from the word hanasu, right? So adding this small tsu in a pa is kind of a form of rendaku, so kind of changing how two consonants interact depending on, kanji combinations and stuff like that. Like ikitsurai, it's ikizurai, right? Or 3分 turns to 3分, right? Or I 1分 turns to 1分, right? So it's the same kind of thing like skip Panashi. It's kind of the same kind of rule that you're talking about here. So this actually comes from the verb hanasu, which means to release something. So when you release something, you no longer control that. You're no longer the agent that controls that item. So that means that any change that happens to that item after you've released it, in a sense, they are made by nature. If anything does change, it's made by nature. It's not done by you, okay? So that means you leave something the way it is, okay? You just leave it the way it is, right? So this panasu or this hanasu kind of verb also comes from hottoku, right? So hottoku, to release or set aside. This is actually two combinations. We have hanasu and then we have toku, right? So toku is to, put something down and then leave it for later, as we learned before. And then hanasu is to release something. So you release something, you set it for later, for the future. So that means leave me alone. But implying that not forever, just leave me alone for now and we'll talk later about it. That's basically what that implies. So we can bring that over to a stem verb. So you can attach it to the suffix of a stem verb, the end of a stem, and then it becomes the act of doing something and leaving it the way it is without changing it, okay? So this whole thing becomes a noun, which is why we don't use the kanji, right? Remember way back then we talked about, when you combine a grammar that was originally a kanji with another kanji, it becomes like a big ass new whole word. But sometimes you'll see in my slides that they will still have the kanji in them. That's only to help you remember. You won't get ostracized for using it. It is a little uncommon. Actually, uncommon, I mean, no one does that. But to help you learn, that's probably the best way to help you remember that, right? So, akaru, akepanashi. So, leaving the window open. Now, notice that this is a transitive verb. Okay? It's not the intransitive verb like aku, right? So, panashi. So you can't do that. Like, if you want to say the lights are left on, it's skeru, right? To turn on a light, skeru, right? Not tsuku. So tsuku is like the intransitive part of it, right? The one that, it's automatically just turned on. Oh, denki tsuiteru yo, the light is on. You can't say tsuipanashi because there was nothing for you to actually have control of in the first place. So you can't have something that's naturally on be naturally left the way it is because that's just how it is, right? This verb is talking about you've done something and you've released it in that form. So you've done it, you've released it in that form, and you forgot about it, right? So akeru, ake panashi, ake panashi. Okay, that's basically what it goes. Kaku, right? So kaki panashi, kakimasu, kaki. Get rid of the mas, it turns to kaki panashi. Okay, that's leaving something written, leaving the window open, leaving the lights on. Or leaving something half done, yari panashi, like leaving something unfinished, right? So this is often used when you leave something on, like the light. So you leave it on because you did it, but you forgot about it, right? So denki wa zutto skepanashi datta yo. So notice that this becomes a noun now, right? So skepanashi. Notice that when you put a e sound at the end of a verb, it becomes like the object form of the verb. So it's like a skepanashi datta yo. You left the lights on all day, Mado ga akepanashi datta no de mushi ga haite kita. The window was left open, so some insects got in, right? So akepanashi turns into a noun. So the entire state of being left open, datta no de, was in past tense, so was left open in the state of left open. So the mushis came inside. And that's basically how that goes. And I got to get a new stand. This thing is way too big, heavy. Alright, guys, thanks so much for watching. Kinda guy, we're back on Relearn Japanese. Hope you guys are appreciating this. I know these videos only get like 50 views, but I know there's 50 of you that appreciate this content. You guys enjoy it. So hopefully we'll be able to continue this momentum moving into the future, at least for the rest of the month. And then this series is actually almost done, so then we'll be moving on. When Relearn Japanese is done, we'll be moving on to a new series that I have been planning for a long time, but I've been lofting. But remember, guys, that a lot of this content, all the supporting content is available on Patreon, so you can get the quiz that you can use to, review and apply your knowledge that you've relearned stuff. And then Kanji Buff is also available on there, and we also have some grandfathered stuff like the Relearn Japanese podcast and our Japan English podcast and some other stuff on there as well. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Love you all. Goodbye.